everyone. My name is Maya Grabowski, and I'm a rising junior at Holton Arms. I want to say thank you all so much for coming out today. We are all here because we recognize that there needs to be change in our justice system and the way some people think about Black people. The Black Lives Matter movement not only addresses police brutality, but it also focuses on all facets of racial discrimination. When we say Black Lives Matter, we are not only talking about killing of Black men and women by police. We are talking about systemic racism embedded in the foundation of our country. We are tired of living in a country that claims to give all citizens equal freedom and opportunities, but fails when it comes to its Black citizens. I think we can all agree that there's a problem when Black people make up 15% of the population in America, but make up about 40% of people incarcerated. There's a problem when Black people are 3 times more likely to be murdered by the police compared to their white counterparts. There's a problem when Black women are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth than their white counterparts. So why is it like this? Well, it's because of systematic racism and stereotypes. We know that systemic racism is holding back someone from succeeding in every aspect of life, including the criminal justice system, housing, and education. If we want to change laws and start movements, we also need to shift our mindsets and understand how Black people are stereotyped and the hatred that feeds into these stereotypes and systemic racism. So, going to a predominantly white school, there have been many times where I felt like I've had to suppress a part of myself just to fit in with my white peers. This behavior is typical for many Black students attending a predominantly white school. I didn't really think it was such a big deal until I realized that I was shutting down my voice. I realized the reason I did this because I was afraid of being or contributing to a stereotype. The fear of being a Black female stereotype started when my white peers called me and other Black girls dramatic and loud when we spoke up about any issue. It didn't matter what the issue was. It didn't have to be about race. It could be about anything. So I would stay silent when I heard microaggressions. I didn't want to be perceived as loud and angry. I sometimes let microaggressions that my white peers said to me go because I didn't want to start an argument and feed into the stereotype. Here's an example of a microaggression. So I am half white and half Black. My mother is Black and my father is white. My white peers targeted each part of my race by saying that I didn't really count as Black, or that I talk like other white girls, or that they wish they were naturally as tan as me. These microaggressions are problematic and symptoms of systemic racism. Fortunately for me, Holton provides ways for students to have conversations about race and microaggressions. Every year we have a diversity day where we dedicate a whole school day to having conversations about race. These conversations continue throughout the school year through assemblies and advisories. This past year, I was a facilitator for the event. During our facilitator training, we were taught how to handle microaggressions by educating people on why what they were saying was offensive. I started using my voice and social media to educate other people on these issues. If we want to see change in the world, we have to start changing the way we think, and we need to be more aware of the ramifications of what we are saying. Providing ways such as Diversity Day to educate people about microaggressions and racism in general are avenues to help us make a change in this world. We have to keep fighting for change, and we have to keep educating ourselves so that we stop stereotyping Black men and women. We have to keep the conversations going to undo systemic racism in America. These conversations have to be honest, and sometimes they will be painful, but they should never be hurtful. I believe if we can do these things, educate ourselves, have the conversations, we can get rid of the stereotype, which helps us to undo systemic racism in America. If we can't solve race-related issues on a smaller scale, how are we supposed to solve race-related issues like police brutality? So I encourage you all to keep having those conversations, keep signing petitions, keep protesting, and keep supporting Black Lives Matter. Thank you so much for listening.